Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a hot minute. What would you get if you took the armor plates off Master Chief, removed Uncle Pennybags from Monopoly, and dropped a brick on your foot? Well, first you'd get hunted across the galaxy by a pissed off marine, then you'd incur public outcry, and lastly you'd probably break every bone in your foot. What you won't get is Iron Trials because it's a limited time game mode in Warzone and won't incur the wrath of an angry LEGO Space Marine. If you aren't familiar with Iron Trials, let me give you a quick brief. It's a revamped rule set for the Battle Royale mode of Warzone. Firstly, players' base health is greatly increased from 100 to 250. Health takes longer to regenerate as well. Also, sniper rifles can only one-shot headshot within 40 meters. Secondly, circles collapse faster and the first circle moves very fast. If you drop far away, you need a vehicle to survive. Third, no free loadouts at all. If you want a loadout, you need to purchase one. But fourth, buy prices have been greatly increased. For example, a loadout is 15,000 instead of 10,000. Doesn't sound too bad, right? Well, this applies to every single item in the buy station and money is much more scarce. This means only the best players get loadouts and there also isn't constant UAV popping. Fifth, no dead silence or stopping power. And lastly, no berths, helicopters or covered jeeps. There's a few more changes which I'll link below, but the gist of Iron Trials is that it is a much more intense and harder experience compared to the regular BR rule set. With the higher health, you can get out of sticky situations without instantly being deleted, and to secure the kills on other players you need good accuracy. This mode rewards good players, and that's why I love it. So last Saturday with the arrival of Iron Trials Solos, I got the chance to jump in and play a few games and landed a number of wins. So, let's kick it off. First game of Iron Solos and I went with dropping in the train station, landing here with gunfire all around and it was clear I wasn't alone. As I move about looking for a better gun, I see gunshots on my mini-map still on the roof. So back to looting with me getting an armor satchel and some much better guns. As I initially round the corner, I don't spot the player in front of me, but the second time I do. And I move back out of sight and into a better position. First game of the day, so this hands and my brain is still cold. I overcommit to the fight and if he was a better player, I'd be dead. But I bail out on nearly no health and I re-armor up. Moving back to maximize distance, another player takes him by surprise, so I take action to not only kill Rose, but to also kill Scream while he tumbles down. 2 players down, but there's more than likely more waiting around to pounce, given the opportunity. I also have the liberty of knowing that I'm not going to get pounced on by someone using dead silence. Well, as for the other player, indeed I'm correct, with another player hitting me from the left. Now, I ding them up pretty hard and deal out a lot of damage, but I don't take initiative to push. If I'd done so, I would have saved the next 2 minutes of us running back and forth. The end result, I make a flank to the roof when I find the opportunity, which leads me to breaking more of their plates. And eventually, when I ding them up more and they have no health, I push with my SMG and I finally put them down. After a quick amount of looting, I get my loadout with an AK-47, Restock and Stims. Why? I'll show you later. With Iron Trials, I tend to execute the pinwheel rotation very hard, and in this case I move out to the west and towards Boneyard. Some players have a rather long fight, so I determine that I can pick off both or the remaining players. That I do. I head back to grab a self-revive, and then it's back to rotating. The circle is heading towards the warehouse on the left-hand side of the map, so I will too. As I flank around the side of the map, 2 players begin fighting in one of the bunkers in front of me. Knowing they have nowhere to run, I push. I wait for an opportunity to find my target, and when I do, I actually get a little bit reckless and push for the kill. While it does work out for me and I end up getting the kill, it was a little bit reckless, and I didn't exactly need to do it. I end up getting an armor box and a very nice MP5 out of it though, so we'll take that, and we'll go keep pushing towards the warehouse. The zone closes in on the warehouse, so I decide to move towards it for the best position to defend. I'd rather not box myself into a corner like this poor chap did. Once I'm on the roof, it's time to assume sentry duty and look for enemies. My call is shortly answered when a scope glint flashes in front of my eyes. I move off the edge so I can't hit my head easily and send some shots down range. This player seems very confident to push me and I'm confident to hold him, but I have to take into account at this range he could actually one-shot me with a sniper, so I do need to play it a little bit safer. I make sure to apply pressure to him so he can't get easy shots off, but he does end up hitting one that breaks my armor. So I drop, plate up, and I quickly peek, catching a glimpse of him as he moves into the shack. I patiently wait for my health to regenerate, and in the meantime I go back to watching the angles and waiting for him to present himself. When I do, I send some more shots into him and ding him up. Then, it's time to get aggressive. But rather than push in recklessly, I use angles to get more shots and to burn through more of his armor plates. I make him weaker in the long run, and I still have my armor plates plus stims just in case. When I get the opportunity and it seems like I'm a little bit okay to move, I go ahead and I take the roof instead, which in turn turns out to be the right choice as he throws a stun grenade inside. I catch him a little bit out of position, put some shots into him, take cover, and then I return back to whatever the hell he just said. I take note of some gunshots on the hillside, and then I move back to hold what is easily the strongest position. As I'm moving on the roof, I hear some footsteps that start getting louder and louder. Rounding the corner, I find a Rose climbing the ladder next to me, but I accidentally mount up so I'm unable to push for the kill. Instead, I go back to gathering some information on the remaining players, and one player decides to jump onto a bike and take a bit of a hoon through the street. While I put some shots into him, I take some shots from gas station and I can hear some sniper shots on the hill to my west as well. Alright, so what do we know at this point? There's 10 players left, including myself. 1 is on the hill to my left, 2 and 3 are fighting by the gas station on my right, 4 just drove past on the bike to this little shack, and 5 is still below me. There is another 4 players unaccounted for, but I don't know where they all are. So, I return to the roof and I spend my time applying pressure to players on the hillside, cracking armor over and over again, forcing them into hiding, but also not forgetting about the player below me either, so I'm constantly listening for footsteps because I know dead silence isn't a threat. I return my attention to the players at the gas station. 1 dies, 1 remains, so I spend my time waiting for him to cross over the open road. Eventually the gas pushes him out, and remember this is the first game of the day so my aim isn't warmed up and I miss a bunch of shots. He returns to cover, I check the right for Rose, I leave him for a second and I go back to the other player on the hillside. I get some free shots and I swap back to the guy crossing from the gas station. He goes down with nowhere to run. As I move about, I end up getting hit, so I weave to return to cover and plate up. But as I do, Rose finally decides to make her entrance. Now the stims come into play and they very quickly save my life. I return to challenge Rose, but she's disappeared. Instead, I take the time to armor up, peek again, and I'm seeing I'm low on plates, so I use my box, placing it so it can't be shot from the side. Again, I peek, and this time Rose is much more unlucky and she takes all the bullets this time. While this is happening, the last 2 players fight, and 1 dies. 1 player remains. I don't need to be worried, as I said, best seat in the house, but I take my time and I look for movement. Finally, I catch a shadow moving through the trees, and I start sending the bullets downrange. Not the cleanest of aim, and he does actually make it to the wall. My last ditch effort, a Semtex, to flush him out of cover. And flush him out, it did. And I take home a win in the first of many games in Iron Trials. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. I have a number of games coming from Iron Trials, and yes, my wrist is feeling way better than before. But anyways guys, thank you, give it a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe to catch the next video. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.